What mileage is too high for a used car? Everyone has a number in their head. 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles, 200,000 miles. Nope, that's done. But here's where it gets a little scary. I've seen cars with 80,000 miles that were completely worn out, and cars with 220,000 miles that still felt tight, smooth, and honestly, kind of impressive. So clearly, that number on the dash is not telling you the full story. If you're shopping for a used car and you're staring at listings thinking, is this too many miles? Am I about to buy a problem? This video is for you. Because most people are asking the wrong question. Instead of asking what mileage is too high for a used car, you should be asking, what does this mileage actually mean for this specific car with this specific engine and this specific history? And if you get that wrong, you can go from good deal to money pit really fast. If you want to understand cars before you commit to a huge purchase, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because every car has a story and we're here to decode it. And stick around to the end, because I'll give you a simple checklist you can use on any used car to tell if its mileage is scary or actually totally fine. Let's break this down. First, the mileage is a number that lies, sometimes. From an engineering perspective, mileage is just a crude counter. It adds up every time the wheels turn, but it has no idea how the car was used. There are easy miles and there are hard miles. Imagine two cars, both with 120,000 miles. Car A spent its life doing steady highway commutes, 30 to 60 minutes at a time, engine warmed up, minimal stop and go, regular oil changes. Car B lived in the city, cold starts, 5-minute trips, constant stoplights, rough roads, missed maintenance. Same odometer, completely different internal wear. In Car A, the engine oil regularly reached full operating temperature, burning off moisture and fuel, keeping internal parts cleaner. The transmission had fewer heat cycles from constant shifting. Brakes and suspension weren't abused by potholes. In Car B, the engine spent most of its life rich and cold, washing extra fuel into the oil. Condensation never fully burned off. The transmission shifted non-stop. Brakes took a beating. The suspension ate bumps and potholes daily. So when people ask, is 120,000 too high? The accurate answer is, it depends. In most cases, what matters more than the number is how those miles were driven, how the car was maintained, and what kind of car and powertrain it is in the first place. Mileage is a clue, not a verdict. The 3 types of miles. Think of mileage in 3 broad categories: highway miles, mixed or normal miles, and severe or hard miles. From an engineering perspective, steady highway driving is about as easy as it gets. The engine runs at a constant RPM, the transmission rarely shifts, little brake usage, fewer heat cycles per mile. Oil temperatures and coolant temperatures stay stable, which reduces wear. Bearings and rings love this kind of life. This is why a properly maintained car with 180,000 mostly highway miles can feel better than a neglected city car at 90,000. Mixed miles, this is what most people do. Some highway, some suburban, some city, reasonable trips, regular-ish maintenance. Wear is normal and predictable here. For a well-engineered car, 100,000 to 150,000 miles of this type of use with service done on time usually isn't a big deal. Severe or hard miles. Most owners think severe duty means racing the car or towing a huge trailer. But for manufacturers, severe often includes frequent short trips under 10 to 15 minutes, lots of idling, extreme temperatures, dusty or dirty environments, stop-and-go traffic, heavy loads or towing. Many people are unknowingly driving in severe service conditions, but following normal service intervals. That's a problem. Engines used this way need shorter oil change intervals. Transmissions often need more frequent fluid changes. Cooling systems and brakes get worked harder. So 2 cars with identical mileage can be in completely different health depending on how severe their daily life was. The big question, what fails when? To know if mileage is too high, you need to know what tends to fail at that mileage on that exact car. Different engines and transmissions have different life expectancies and common issues. Some examples of patterns you see across the industry, not hard rules, but trends. Small turbocharged engines that are driven hard and lightly maintained may start having issues around 100,000 to 150,000 miles. Carbon buildup, turbo wear, oil consumption, timing chain stretch in some designs. Older, naturally aspirated Japanese four-cylinders with good maintenance commonly hit 200,000 to 300,000 miles without major internal work. Certain dual-clutch transmissions, DCTs, can have mechatronic or clutch issues around 80,000 to 140,000 miles, especially if abused or neglected. Some CVTs, if not designed well or not serviced, may start slipping or failing between 100,000 and 160,000 miles. Basic torque converter automatics with proper fluid changes can last well past 200,000 in many cases. The point isn't to memorize all of this. The point is, you can't judge mileage in isolation. You need to ask, for this specific engine and transmission, what tends to happen around this mileage? That means looking at owner forms, reliability databases, technical service bulletins, TSBs, and independent mechanic experiences. If you're looking at a car that's at 110,000 miles and the community says, yeah, most of these kill their timing chains around 120,000 miles, then 110,000 is not low mileage. It's about to get expensive mileage. On the other hand, if you're looking at a car known for running 250,000 plus with basic care, then 110,000 could be totally reasonable as long as maintenance has been done. Age versus mileage, a hidden trade-off. Here's another thing many people don't consider. Age matters almost as much as miles. You'll often see a 15-year-old car with 45,000 miles, a 7-year-old car with 110,000 miles. Most people instinctively want the 45K mile one, but let's think about what age does. Over time, rubber bushings and seals dry, crack, and harden. Plastics get brittle, old fluids break down chemically. Corrosion can form inside components. Hoses get weak, old tires dry rot even if the tread looks fine. So if that 15-year-old car mostly sat, it might have original coolant, original brake fluid, original transmission fluid, old timing belt if it has one, a rust starting on the underbody, a gummed-up fuel system, moisture-affected electronics or connectors. Yes, the odometer looks good, but the car is still old. Meanwhile, the 7-year-old car with 110,000 well-maintained highway miles might have newer rubber, fluids changed more regularly, components exercised instead of sitting, less corrosion in connectors and grounds, and a drivetrain that's been kept warm and lubricated. From an engineering perspective, sitting for long periods can be as hard on a car as being driven a lot, just in different ways. So you don't want low miles at any cost. You want the right balance of reasonable mileage, reasonable age, proper use, and documented maintenance.
Let's talk about rough ranges and what they usually imply. These aren't strict rules, just general patterns. 0 to 60,000 miles. Typically still in the early life of the car. Most major components should be fine, unless there's a defect or abuse. Warranty may still be active on newer cars. Higher purchase price, of course. But a badly abused 40K mile car, hard driving, no oil changes, constant short trips, can absolutely be worse than a gently driven, well-maintained 90K mile car. So you still can't blindly trust a low number. 60,000 to 100,000 miles. Many cars are just getting broken in. First round of bigger maintenance may be due or recently done. Spark plugs, fluids, brakes, some suspension components. Still a very reasonable range for most modern cars if maintenance is up to date. This is a sweet spot for buying used if the car has a solid reputation and a good history. 100,000 to 150,000 miles. This is what I'd call middle age for most decent cars. More parts have worked harder for longer. Things like shocks, struts, bushings, and mounts may be worn. Timing belts, if equipped, may be due, or chains may start to show issues if neglected. Transmission service is critical here. For a simple, reliable car with proof of good maintenance, 100K to 150K is not scary. But for a complex, fragile car with unknown history, 100K plus can be the danger zone. 150,000 to 220,000 miles. Now you're in the zone most people consider high mileage. This is where you can find amazing deals on cars that still have life left, or absolute nightmares waiting to happen. At this stage, everything depends on the platform's known reliability, how it was driven, what maintenance has been done recently, what a pre-purchase inspection finds. You should assume suspension will be tired or already replaced, wear items, alternator, starter, wheel bearings may be original or already on round 2, rubber parts will need attention if not already done. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means you need to be realistic and budget for ongoing ownership, not just the purchase price. 220,000 plus miles. At this point, you're in veteran territory. Some cars do great here. Some don't make it this far at all. If you're even considering a car at this mileage, you should only do it if it's a model, engine, transmission combination known for long life, you have access to strong maintenance history, it passes a very thorough inspection, the price is low enough to justify risk. This is where cheap commuter cars and beaters can make sense if you're prepared for the occasional repair and see the car as a tool, not a long-term investment. Maintenance history more important than mileage. This is the part where most people get burned. They'll say, it has 85,000 miles, so it must be fine. The oil looks clean. The seller said they changed the fluids. From an engineering perspective, none of that means anything without proof. You want service records, receipts, dealer printouts, logs, evidence that oil was changed on time or early, proof of major services, timing belt and water pump if applicable, transmission fluid changes, coolant service, differential and transfer case fluids on AWD or 4x4, brake fluid flushes every few years. If a car is at 100,000 miles with no proof of any of that, you need to assume you'll be doing all of it soon. On the other hand, a 160,000-mile car with a folder full of records, a recent timing belt, fresh tires, new brakes, and recent fluid services, objectively, that car can be a better buy than a 90,000-mile car with zero documentation and a shiny wash. Mileage without context is a trap. Maintenance history gives that mileage meaning. Engine and transmission type, the silent multiplier. Not all miles are equal, and not all drivetrains are equal either. Some combinations age gracefully, others age like milk. A few general patterns. Naturally aspirated Japanese 4-cylinders, Toyota, Honda, some Mazdas, etc., with basic maintenance commonly go 200K plus without major drama. 150,000 miles on one of these with records, often fine. Small, highly boosted turbo engines, especially in performance applications or heavy vehicles, can be more sensitive to oil quality, heat, and neglect. 100K to 150K can be fine, or it can be where problems start, depending on care. Simple automatic transmissions with regular fluid changes, 150K to 200K plus is very realistic. Certain CVTs, some are okay if serviced. Some are known weak points that become very risky after 120K to 150K, especially if fluid was lifetime and never changed. Dual clutch transmissions, great for performance, but can be a headache in heavy traffic or if used carelessly. Clutches and mechatronics can get expensive near or past 100K to 150K. So a 140,000-mile Corolla and a 140,000-mile twin-turbo luxury crossover are not playing the same game. Before you decide if the mileage is too high, research known issues with that engine code, timing chain or belt reliability, typical transmission life, cost of common major repairs. Sometimes 90,000 miles on a fragile drivetrain is already high mileage. Sometimes 180,000 miles on a legendary drivetrain is just broken in. Mileage scares a lot of people, and that fear is exactly why some really good used cars get ignored, while shiny, low-mileage problems get snapped up. If you look past the number and into the story behind the miles, you'll make much better decisions. If this helped you see used car mileage differently, subscribe. Because in upcoming videos, we're going to break down specific engines and models, which ones stay strong at 150,000 plus, and which ones you probably don't want to touch even at 80,000. I'm GearHead. Every car has a story, and together, we're going to decode it.